What's up, y'all? It's Zems, and welcome back to Rotten Mango's Diddy list. Man, the last couple of episodes have been crazy, man. I'm telling you, Ashton Kutcher, Macy's, and a whole bunch of other things were listed, man. Make sure you go stop by and go check out the last videos. I am not lying to you. It's getting extra spicy caliente. This video is by Rotten Mango, so if you guys haven't already, make sure you swoop down to that description box, click on that link, go watch this video in entirety, because I'm going to be pausing, stopping, and talking through the whole thing. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Zems, and welcome to the crow's nest.
Others have come to her defense. Some comments read, "Are we seriously going to indict everyone who's photographed with him and like all of his friends?" Then there's Prince William and Prince Harry. Diddy has stated multiple times that he's wanted to invite them to parties. Some sources have alleged that he had this weird fascination with wanting to be close with them. His former publicist alleges that Diddy saw himself as a king, so he wanted to have the princes in his entourage, like little playthings on his side. He wanted to get close to the royals. Some netizens think, what better blackmail than blackmail on royals? So that's probably... I'm not surprised because I personally, not me, Stephanie, but netizen, think she's not a good person. Which many netizens have supported their opinions by drawing connections, whether, again, it's rooted in fact or not, I wouldn't know, but her alleged close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein as well.
Wow.
Naomi Campbell has since denied that association. She said she has never even been alone with Jeffrey Epstein. She only knew him through her then boyfriend at the time. But people are very, very skeptical. Others have come to her defense. Some comments read, "Are we seriously going to indict everyone who's photographed with him and like all of his friends?" Then there's Prince William and Prince Harry. Diddy has stated multiple times that he's wanted to invite them to parties. Some sources have alleged that he had this weird fascination with wanting to be close with them. His former publicist alleges that Diddy saw himself as a king, so he wanted to have the princes in his entourage, like little playthings on his side. He wanted to get close to the royals. Some netizens think, what better blackmail than blackmail on royals? So that's probably his train of thought, is what netizens think. Is a theory.
But did
Regardless,
it work?
The two brothers never accepted a party invitation from Diddy. That was what was said until the internet dug up these photos of them. Now, it made them look guilty, but they're not actually partying with Diddy. These were taken from a 2007 concert for Diana, where the princes invited a ton of artists to perform in honor for their late mother. Diddy performed "I'll Be Missing You" as part of the tribute. So it's not like they went to Diddy's white parties, and it's alleged that Diddy constantly invited them. But again, he even allegedly offered to pay for their travel, stay, security expenses for the princes to come hang out with them. And they have consistently declined the invitations. One netizen comments, "No way all of them knew. You guys are all too simplistic. You see them in a video together and you're ready to sentence people to death." Then there's Mary J. Blige, the queen of R&B. The two of them have known each other since the 90s. She was signed at Uptown Records when Diddy started working there before starting Bad Boy Records.
Mary J.
She
Blige.
cryptically took to Instagram to write, "This is after Diddy's homes were arrested. Unfortunately, a lot of you all met me when I lacked boundaries and I was a people pleaser. Let me reintroduce myself. I burn bridges as needed." Which felt like a statement against Diddy, but I don't know. But she has been spotted at many of his parties, and some netizens believe that she appears to be under the influence of substances at these parties.
Really?
She said, "I burn bridges as needed."
Yes.
So I guess it says she's cutting them off now.
Some netizens have taken it as far to say she's working with the feds because she's known him for so long. But that is a crazy allegation to make that I'm not making, but I'm just saying. Then Ellen DeGeneres, who is, like I said, very flawed, very controversial in her own right. But in this case, netizens allege she was way too close with Diddy. She had tweeted previously, "Happy birthday, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs," or as I call him, Cuddle McSnuggle stuff. And you really don't need to know why. Which people are now saying, what did you mean by that? Some point to a fake relationship. They point to when Diddy was on Ellen's show and she asked, "So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?" He responds, "Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up to them." But others point out the rest of the interview, she starts asking him around what time the party starts. And Ellen states she expects them to start around midnight, to which he responds ominously, "No, that's a different type of party. And we'll have the top 2 floors of the hotel where it will carry on."
And then it
Top
will
2
carry on
floors.
Yeah. I mean the after party.
No, I know about them.
Some netizens believe she might know about the parties, though she does not attend them personally. Which parties is she referencing?
Right.
Then we have Meek Mill. Meek Mill has been named in the so-called Diddy list. Social media has focused on these few points. One, Meek Mill has always seemingly been close friends with Diddy. And Gina.
And they released something to where he was kind of like in the background. I don't know if they were fighting or whatever it was. It sounded like Meek Mill was crying or something. I don't know what that footage or video was. I seen it like a while back, or maybe it was on one of the other. Did I see it on social media or did I see it on one of the Rotten Mango videos? But I don't know. It sounded very atrocious and horrendous, or whatever was going on in the background. Something was happening to Meek in the background.
Diddy's ex-girlfriend, remember in the podcast, she stated that she was beaten by Diddy after a Meek Mill birthday party because she reached over and shook Meek Mill's hand.
Yes.
So it does seem like they are close friends. That's not me saying that Meek Mill had seen the violent behavior. She never alleged that, but I'm just saying. Now, it does seem like they are close friends. And two, there are photos of them in matching outfits at a party. Could be a coincidence, could be besties. Three, there is a video of Meek Mill floating around in Diddy's pool sunbathing, and Diddy is recording him saying, "Damn, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you."
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you.
Wait, what's going on? Meek Mill is swimming?
Yeah, and Diddy's all like, "Proud of you, daddy." And he,
Recording him?
yeah, and
He
so I
didn't do
guess
it.
with the questions of Diddy's sexuality and Diddy calling Meek Mill daddy, and they have that close friendship, people think perhaps there's more. And lastly, there is a rumored audio clip going around claiming to be Meek Mill and Diddy engaging in sexual activities. It does not appear to actually be them in the clip. There are many allegations that it is AI manipulated to sound more like them. But it did make a lot of rounds on Twitter. Oh, and he was maybe listed in a lawsuit. Lil Rod, the producer, in his lawsuit against Diddy, alleges that Diddy had a physical relationship with, quote, a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. And there's really only, I
Meek
can't
Mill.
think of anyone other than Meek Mill. Meek Mill has since responded to the allegations, well, I guess the rumors, and he says, "I want to hire an investigative team, $100K cash to find out every specific detail involving Meek Mill name to Diddy case. I also want them to look at who is powering the media involving Meek, anything to do with this guy. Something's not right." He continues on Twitter, "The streets know what's up with me. That's not the case. We talking about the business side. Somebody powering these bad campaigns with Meek Mill. Again, I got $100K for a thorough investigation of who's powering and how exactly my name is connected to this." He also states about how much he loves women, which felt a little bit odd to people. He takes to X, Twitter, and says, "When I got a girl around me, I'm f***ing her twice a day. Ask some of your favorites. Pussy don't control me, but it's like a high. One love to the gay people, but that juicy pussy do it for me, smiley face. I ran red lights to get that feeling. Y'all weird on here. Like devils, LOL." One netizen comment reads, "I too write long rambling screeds about how much I love women." Another reads, "My man doth protest too much," saying, "It's just the way he's so excitedly trying to give away money. It's just, it feels like you're overdoing it to the point where people, netizens feel like, okay, now I'm actually curious." Another reads, "This response has, I have a girlfriend, but she lives in Canada," kind of energy. Another netizen comments, "Bro, all you have to say is, quote, no, I did not have sex with Diddy. You look guilty AF."
Yeah,
Which
he's
I think
he's
if
over
not comfortable
explaining.
sharing his sexuality, which I'm not saying that's the case here, but if he's not, then I think this shouldn't even be a conversation. But it seems like a lot of people are suspicious about him potentially being listed in Lil Rod's lawsuit. That's why. Because Lil Rod's lawsuit is basically, it could be inferred that perhaps he was a potential viewer, witness to other things. Then we have Young Miami of City Girls. She and her cousin were listed in Lil Rod's lawsuit against Diddy. Young Miami was in a relationship with Diddy prior to his arrest. They attended the 2023 Met Gala together. Gene Deal, the former bodyguard, has stated the 3-star witnesses for the feds that he thinks will be the 3-star witnesses are going to be Cassie, Gina, the ex-girlfriend that I told you about in part 1, and Young Miami. Those 3.
Like they know the most?
That's kind of what he's inferring with that. Or at least that's what many people think.
And Meek
Some
Mill,
netizens
he was
think
looking
that
kinda
Young
sore in
Miami is
that
also a
pool.
victim of Diddy and has not come to the realization yet. Others think that she was complicit in what he was doing. Others think that she had no idea what was happening behind the scenes. In a very emotional podcast, Young Miami says, "I can't speak on these allegations because I wasn't around at that time. I don't know that person, and that wasn't my experience." So she's saying, like, a lot of people were telling her, say something about Diddy when all the allegations came forward, but she didn't have that experience, and so she felt wrong to speak up and say something. But some people point to some controversial tweets that she's made against Gina. So her and Gina were also in a feud about Diddy, and she was saying things along the lines of, if Diddy wanted you to eat my private parts, you would be on your knees, which some people say sound like freak-offs.
I see.
So it's just very messy. Young
Yeah, it
Miami
sound like
was leaving
he's
a club in Atlanta
controlling.
when someone came up to her asking her to sign a baby oil bottle, which I think is very inappropriate
That's
and
crazy.
unhinged behavior. Because, I mean, at this point, we don't know if she was involved, if she was a victim herself. We don't know anything. And I think even if she had nothing to do with anything that Diddy is alleged of, it's still very disrespectful, I think, to the victims. It's just bizarre. Jay-Z and Beyonce. There are a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding Jay-Z and Beyonce. It seems primarily stemming from the fact that netizens feel like they were too close to Diddy to not know what was going on. One of the most vocal figures against the couple has been a woman named Jaguar Wright, but her segment from the Piers Morgan show where she claims that the couple are, quote, nasty and compare Jay-Z to Jeffrey Epstein amongst a whole list of other things. I mean, these are very massive allegations to the point where Piers Morgan had to remove the segment from the show and apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce. So for now,
Wow.
we're just going to leave that part there. Usher has become a big part of the discourse, mainly
Yeah, especially when he was wrestling over the Frosted Flakes, and they removed the segment to get that. A lot of people been saying that with Jay-Z and what's his name. They said Aaliyah was supposed to be the person, but obviously her tragic, ending. Apparently Aaliyah had a better voice than Beyonce, and they ended up taking over or something like that because Aaliyah didn't want to do what Diddy said. Apparently, again, like I said, that was the allegations. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think, because that's pretty crazy, I always thought Jay-Z wasn't that great. He's a dope artist, but I think he's overhyped.
because he wiped his whole Twitter feed, which everyone thought had to do with Diddy. And his response was a little strange. He says, account got hacked and damn, y'all ran with it. See you tonight at Intuit Dome. So I guess he was having a concert.
Yeah,
People
they're
were
gonna
not
hack
believing
you.
Usher. Not even a little bit. They commented, you got hacked and the hackers decided to delete all your tweets instead of tweeting random stuff.
Yeah.
Which then had people going down the rabbit hole. Now, one of the main reasons Usher's name comes up in the conversation is from an interview he did talking about Puffy Flavor Camp. When Usher was 13 years old, his parents sent him to live and work with Diddy, who was 8 years older at the time, so 21. Usher told Rolling Stone about Puffy Flavor Camp that Diddy introduced him to a different set of experiences, saying, quote, specifically, there were always girls around and you would open a door and see somebody doing it or several people in a room having an orgy. You never knew what was going to happen. Later on an episode of Howard Stern asked him, was it filled with like chicks and orgying like nonstop? No, not really. But hey, I was curious. I got a chance to see some things. I went there to see the lifestyle and I saw it, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild. It was crazy. Howard Stern then asks, would you ever send your kids to Puffy Camp? Without hesitation, Usher responds, hell no.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
Many netizens have just pointed out, how is it even possible and okay or even remotely acceptable for a 13-year-old boy to be sent to live in an environment like that?
It is weird.
Another netizen comment reads, I don't think people need to speculate on any famous person's experience with Puffy without facts, evidence, and comments from said celebrity, but it does seem like a lot of people feel sympathetic for 13-year-old Usher. That is where it connects to Justin Bieber.
Oh man,
Usher
poor
has
Justin.
maintained a close, I don't know if it's friendship, I don't know if it's a working relationship where it's just professional with Diddy for years now. Now, I do want to say that these celebrities, sometimes they have the business advantage to make their friendship appear stronger on camera. Because people always love celebrity friends. They love celebrity relationships and friends. But truly, there have been moments where you might see, even like in the influencer world, oh, we're best friends. And then off camera, you're like, I don't even think these two people know each other like that. It's very strange, right? They could have been just playing into it. I don't know. Now, Usher seems to be the link between Diddy and Justin Bieber. Young Justin Bieber signed with Diddy's longtime friend Usher, and that's how he met Diddy. I think that for one, it's pretty clear that Justin Bieber was victimized in the industry in one way, shape, or form. He was forcibly kissed on the neck on stage in front of everyone when he was just, I believe, 18 years old at the time. Jenny McCarthy, the one who grabbed his butt and kissed him, was 40. He was 18, and he stated on stage that he felt violated. people laughed it off like it was a joke. He was 15, being interviewed and asked if he's already had the sex talk, to which he stated, I feel really uncomfortable right now. Why do you want to know if a 15-year-old had the sex talk? Like, why do you want to have a sex talk with a 15-year-old boy?
Yeah, that's so weird.
He also stated in regards to Billie Eilish that he just wants to protect her. He doesn't want her to go through what he went through in the industry. He wouldn't wish that upon anybody.
If she ever needs me, I'm gonna be here for her, but
That man broken.
I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody.
But he has never spoken up about who or exactly what has happened. And perhaps I'm biased, but he's just been in the public eye for so long. I think he deserves to be in peace with his family and newborn child right now. For the sake of being thorough, I will go briefly through the things coming up on social media discourse, because some of them are not exactly as they seem on face value, just to show you what's happening out there. So one, the main piece of evidence that people are bringing up is 15-year-old Justin Bieber posted a video called, this was posted 14 years ago. It was called 48 Hours with Diddy. In the video, Diddy states, they're having the time of our lives, where we hang out, what we're doing, we can't really disclose. But it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. He's signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I don't really have legal guardianship over him, aka Justin Bieber. But for the next 48 hours, he's with me and we're going crazy.
Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang out some girls.
A man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about, kid.
The video does exist. However, it has just been stated that Justin never spent more than a few hours that day with Diddy while he was there. That the whole clip was just like a skit, if you will. That he was at a Levi's event right after this. He had a fully booked schedule that night. Even Gene, the former bodyguard, said, oh yeah, he was just there for like a few hours. Also, his stylist was there, so it wasn't unsupervised. Because people have taken that and ran with it. Like, what happened in that 48 hours? He definitely victimized Justin Bieber in that 48 hours. This was probably his first instance of a freak off. Like, there's so many crazy comments out there about this video. Now, I'm not saying, like, this is not me excusing anything Diddy ever said or did, or saying the allegations against him aren't true. It just seems like this one is kind of taken out of context. One comment reads, you guys need to stop claiming Justin is a victim of Diddy with no solid proof at all. There are real life victims who have come forward. Tweet about their story for awareness and stop using Justin's name for likes and no proof of what you're saying.
That's crazy.
Two, there's a clip of Diddy and Justin on Jimmy Kimmel Live where they talk about hanging out, where Diddy warns Justin. Now, Justin knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Everything ain't for everybody. I will say it is a weird statement. 3, in a video, Diddy is asking why Justin Bieber hasn't been in contact after he's selling out arenas, to which Justin responds that he knows Diddy has been trying to get in contact and offers to give Diddy his number and gives him the number 555-555-5555. Beyond the creepiness of Diddy in the clip, it has been pointed out by Justin's fans that it indicates that Justin hasn't been in contact with Diddy, which again, I'm not here to say that Justin was or was not victimized by Diddy, but a lot of Justin's fans are saying the conspiracies pertaining to him and Diddy has spiraled out of control. Like, things are just getting weird. And then people are pointing to the fact that Justin Bieber was seen at Diddy parties, but again, all of Hollywood was at these parties. 4, there's another clip where netizens have said it appears that Diddy is feeling to see if Justin Bieber is wearing a wire. He's tapping his chest, which is typically where a wire would be if the feds are trying to listen to you. But again, these are people's speculations and intentions and feelings in a video we don't know. But some fans of Justin Bieber's have pointed out that they're bowing their heads and they're whispering to each other. A lot of netizens have taken that and said, oh, I audio amplified it. And Diddy said something like along the lines of, I own your ass, or all these crazy things. But allegedly, Justin Bieber had posted this video himself with a caption about religion and stated that they were praying. And 5, a big conversation is set around the Yummy music video that was released in 2020.
Yummy.
According to many sources, Justin Bieber's potential self-promotion of the song Yummy was notably aggressive and extensive compared to his other songs that he's released, and in conjunction with some of the music video elements, they think it's very strange. He released several videos of Yummy, including animated versions, fan reactions, which he actually reposted promotionals on guides on how to stream the song, how to fall asleep while playing it in the background via Spotify. A lot of people at the time thought it was weird because he's already rich. It's not like his career is dying off. He's Justin Bieber. What's with this bizarre, aggressive marketing approach? It just felt strange. But probably the most notable part of the promotion of the song Yummy was he posted on Instagram a collage of babies and just wrote #Yummy as a caption.
What?
Which everybody has a strong response to 5 years ago. The nicer comments read, looks like he's trying to promote his new song Yummy in an odd way, probably not realizing how the song title would look under pictures of babies. Others said he and his marketing team probably knows how it looks, which is why they did it, so people would start talking about it. Others commented at the time, he's posting pics of random babies and hashtagging it #Yummy. It's gross. Am I too sensitive?
Or maybe
That's
he's
gross,
sending
right?
a
The song is
subliminal
literally about
message.
sex. Which, side note, when the song came out, a lot of these news publications have stated that it was written about his wife, Hailey Bieber, and allegedly Justin Bieber stated that himself. When the music video was first released, from what I can tell and remember, there were a small group of people, Justin's fans, primarily who believed there was a way deeper message in the video, even in 2020 when it came out. So for a few reasons, the video premise they thought was odd. It did not feel like an ode to his wife. And two, there were clips of Justin Bieber breaking down on the set of filming Yummy. He was allegedly having anxiety attacks during the filming of it. He stated that he was, quote, in his head a lot during the filming and was just having an off day, which then led to people pulling it apart. They believe there's Easter eggs in the video. And I'm not saying these are not Easter eggs that mean something deeper. I'm not saying they are. I'm telling you this is the internet discourse. I will say all the other stuff with Justin Bieber, I don't think it's the best time or place to associate with him with Diddy when he himself has not spoken out against it and said anything related to the case. And there are other victims who have stated, I am a victim of Diddy and this is what happened to me. And to not let them have that space to be heard and to feel safe online is kind of interesting that people are doing that. But this music video, there are very interesting elements and aspects. So this is the main part I think a lot of netizens are pulling to. I've compiled to include a few of the details. So there are a lot of, quote, Easter eggs to break down in the song, whether it's just creative expression that Justin Bieber had nothing to do with, or he was the one that worked on it. We will not know until he says so. But these are the elements. The music video concept for Yummy appears to be a party for older, wealthy people, just based on their attire, based on their age, according to the video. Justin arrives in a pink hoodie. He finds himself walking through the kitchen to get to this large banquet hall where it looks like some sort of colorful wedding. You know, there's large tables of well-dressed individuals sitting around being posh. They're almost dressed over the top to seem very glamorous. There's a full orchestra up front playing cellos, violins. Some netizens have stated that they feel that even him walking through the kitchen is symbolism. He's not walking in through the front door. He is like a dish being served from the kitchen. Right when he enters the party, to his right is a young girl wearing a red bodysuit. Netizens have said this feels very significant. Just keep in mind, this red bodysuit is going to come up again, but there is a young girl who appears to be a minor wearing a red sparkly bodysuit playing the violin. Justin sits down at a table, and netizens have pointed out that everyone nearby is much older than him. They appear middle-aged. Everybody's already eating. He gets served this very interesting dish, which people have really dissected. It's a few pieces of bread with a cherry on top, and then another bread propped up against the other slices, so it looks almost like a shield for the cherry. For the first bit, it appears Justin Bieber is, to a degree, enjoying himself. Other netizens have pointed out there seems to be a point made with he keeps doing cheers and lifting up a tall glass of water with a lemon wedge in there. Like when he has that pile of bread in front of him, he toasts with the glass of water, and netizens state that the whole party atmosphere shifts when the food gets served, and it's all this unappetizing food. It's really gross looking food. You know those weird Jell-O cakes with vegetables? Looks like Jell-O mounds with just peas, green peas inside. There's rings of uncooked, like barely cooked, unseasoned shrimps around it, uncooked anchovy shrimps on top. It's nothing you would enjoy eating. But everyone at the table is served this disgusting food, and the only thing sitting in front of Justin Bieber now is not the food, is just a glass of pink liquid. So now people are connecting the drugging that was done at parties, or the alleged drugging that was done at parties, to this music video. Again, I don't know if this is a warranted connection. I'm just telling you, these are what netizens are pointing out. The others on the table have different glasses of martinis. So all these middle-aged people that are enjoying this unappetizing food, they have martini glasses, wine glasses. But another young man, also dressed in pink, does not appear to be a minor, but young, seems to be miserable as well, and there he has a glass of pink liquid next to the food that he's picking at. Now, side note, there's peas everywhere. There's a strong presence of green peas in the video. A lot of people think it could either mean P for pedophiles or P for P. Diddy. I don't know. I'm just telling you what's out there. Justin's sandwich is turned around to expose the cherry now, but people say it appears to be rotten now. The women, eventually, in the middle of the music video, women start coming out from under the table, and they're all younger women now, and they're all dressed in elements of white, which people have pointed out.
Why do I look like
The
Diddy?
music video then switches the lighting from the overhead lighting, if you will, to the black light. So it almost feels like the party is starting. And what goes from regular lighting, everybody's wearing these bright colors, black light turns on, and the white becomes sharper, and people think it looks like a white party because everything looked kind of white in black light. Also, some netizens have pointed out that the girls that come out from under the table, they're like the only young ones. There's a lot of older women in the area, and then there's like the young girls performing with the musical instruments, and then these young girls come out later. Then abruptly, the party is over, and it's just Justin and a few people left to clean up the mess or deal with the after effects, is what some netizens say. He's alone at his table now. There is a red sparkly suit draped over the chair next to him, and that was the outfit the young girl in the beginning had likely been wearing. And it appears that she was a minor, so, you know, the connotation, if this is what the creative aspect is.
I mean, it's not too far-fetched, like looking at the video for the P's and all that stuff, the subliminals, but I mean, is it reaching? Maybe that's the reason why he's been trying to push out the content of the music video and pressing all those pictures. Was he trying to say like a code word for something? Because I thought that was pretty weird to have baby pictures and saying yummy. That is kind of like a weird, like creepy vibe anytime, you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. Or, you know, maybe he tried to push it out as much as he can so that people can save the video, so if anything ever did happen to him, they can go back and analyze it. But even then, when he said he was praying and stuff, like, it looked like Justin Bieber just wanted to leave. Like, he hugged him a little bit, but at the same time, you can see him kind of like inching his body like away from like Diddy. You know, it could have just been like he has somewhere to be, so that could be it as well. So I don't try to make too many accusations, but you know, I see certain things, you guys probably see certain things. We all not going to agree on the same thing, but what we can agree is that there are victims out there that have suffered from Diddy, or maybe someone else in Diddy's entourage, or, you know, maybe somebody else that hasn't been named yet. I am going to check out that music video after this.
At the end, there is an empty plate. The plate has a picture of younger Justin on there with the word yummy written underneath. A lot of netizens have said, quote, also, if you sing it a certain way, it sounds like he's saying young me instead of yummy, and the lyrics make so much more sense. Some netizens have stated using pictures of himself when he was younger is a full circle moment to point back to the true meaning of the song. Some comment under the video, he is such a genius, the way he wrote it all, the symbolism, and his whole attitude while filming seems to have some sarcastic, angry tone to it. I hope he finds healing. Others have commented, I think people are overanalyzing. Another comment reads, it's not that deep, guys. There are 100 other meanings it could have been than what everyone is insinuating. Or you guys are really reaching. Or it's entirely possible that Justin was a victim, but not by some secret high-level pedo group in the entertainment industry or whatever. To which netizens have very intense reactions stating, what do you think this song is about then? Being served bad food at a party? I try to reserve personal opinions, right? I don't know if it's associated with Diddy. It could be nothing. It could be just a general overview on the entertainment industry. In general, we don't know. I'm just trying to reserve personal opinions because, I mean, who am I and what do I know, right? These are the main points that I've seen people bring up, but there are a lot of other people that are just doing some really unhinged things. And I think this is where it becomes really damaging and unproductive. There are people generating AI pictures of Justin Bieber and Diddy in compromising positions for shock value. There are people memeing the situation. So when I was on Twitter and I was researching just to get netizen sentiment of even just a yummy music video, when you have people that are trying, I think in good faith, trying to depict the music video and see if there's something there that actually means something. I don't think that they do this with intent to harm anyone's feelings, but under them, in the comments, there's like these very memes of Justin Bieber and Diddy. They are alleging that Justin's talking to the feds because he's in the tapes which is a crazy accusation. Just so many conspiracies that I just don't think are productive. I think Justin can be a victim of the industry in some way, shape, or form. I think Diddy could have been a predator in the industry in some way, shape, or form, but it does not mean that Justin was a victim of Diddy's. And if he was, it's up to him to say that he was or not. If he wasn't, then the focus has gone from the actual alleged victims of Diddy to celebrity gossip. Regardless, in this situation, I think the conspiracy theories are doing just way more harm than good. Like, for example, there was a song circulating which sounds very similar to Justin Bieber in the musical style of Justin's previous songs. But the voice singing it says, "Lost myself at a Diddy party. Didn't know that's how it go. I was in it for a new Ferrari, but it cost me way more than my soul. Wasn't worth all the fortune and fame." It was circulating around social media with clips of Justin Bieber and Diddy as almost, see, he's been telling us. The comments under a YouTube video posting of that song read, "That explains why he's been struggling mentally for all these years. This explains everything." It's AI.
Yeah, it's
more
reaching.
than likely AI. CBS News ran the song through multiple AI audio detection tools. Several results indicate that the audio, or at least parts of it, are AI generated.
Wow.
AI is
Then there's the
dangerous, I'm
massive
telling
amount
y'all.
of AI generated thumbnails that I came across during the research.
It's scary.
AI generated pictures on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube showing Justin Bieber and Diddy in weird positions. It's just really a lot. I don't think I've seen as many AI generated media circulating a case since this. One think piece about the conspiracies about Diddy's case says, the discourse has lost the plot. The AI parodies and the tenuously evidenced theories only make it harder for people to know what to believe when victims need moral clarity and support. There have been some other conspiracies that have been swirling, which I'm going to go over super briefly. Just to clarify, this is not me stating that this is true or false. All I can state is I don't know if this is the best time or place to have these conversations without authorities verifying anything when there are actual alleged victims that are coming forward with stories that they feel need to be shared.
I think like even when you just whatever you said so far, at least for me, now I kind of know what's conspiracy and what's AI. Like otherwise I would never know this.
And
You know?
even when I was researching, the amount of anxiety because people just be posting whatever saying it's fact. And I'm like, okay, I had to cross-reference, try to fact check as much as I could, but certain things, like I could only fact check through like Justin Bieber's fan accounts that have been around for a decade, because it's like the mainstream media isn't writing about this a decade ago because it wasn't news back then, right? So it's very hard to try and find what is real, what is not, and it is kind of scary about the whole AI.
Yeah, because a lot of people try to be nosy, and if the news is not covering it and the celebrity's not saying anything, a lot of people try to go and develop something because they like to gossip and create rumors. That's why I don't really like TMZ and all these other places, because they really good at spreading rumors. And then you have those people that have fake accounts. And now it gets even worse because, like I said, AI is a thing. I've been saying this for multiple videos. AI is a thing. I seen a video the other day of Angel Reese. I thought it was an actual press conference until he said something out of pocket. And I was like, what the heck? That's not something she would say. So I was like, man, AI is getting ridiculous, and it's just going to get more advanced from there. So hopefully they cut into that. I think it's going to become illegal after a while. It's going to become a problem. They're going to start doing it to known figures. They're going to start doing it to like vice presidents and all this other stuff and make them say things that didn't really happen. And people use their phones nowadays. They don't cut on the news. How many people actually sit down and watch the news unless you're at your grandparents' house or something? A lot of people don't really cut on the news. You'll follow the news on social media every now and again, but most of you guys get your news from like social media platforms and This Just In and all these other, sites and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard when you support a certain celebrity or you follow a certain crowd and then you're not getting any updates, and the only thing you can do is look around the internet, and sometimes that could be worse than just waiting for what the person has to say, because people are spreading lies and rumors to gain attraction to their channels, and you don't have any sources to say that they are lying, so you don't have much to go off of, right? So it's a weird spider web of events.
Aspect. But there are some conspiracies online. Like I said, I think it's just not the most productive right now that Diddy might be connected to more deaths in Hollywood. One conspiracy theory alleges that Diddy had something to do with Aaron Carter's death. A viral tweet alleges that Aaron Carter was among Diddy's list of victims, and that in 2022, Aaron Carter allegedly had plans to speak up about Diddy and his parties, soon after he passed away. For those unfamiliar, Aaron Carter was a child star on Nickelodeon. His first debut album for music was released when he was 9. He passed in 2022. He was found in his bathtub. The cause of death was the effects of drugs found in his system, which led to him drowning in the tub. The theory is that Aaron Carter, quote, this is a comment, Aaron Carter was killed right before he was about to expose what happened at P. Diddy's trafficking parties, where he was a childhood victim of drug abuse and Aaron Carter released albums under Sony Music Group Entertainment, which is a parent company for Diddy's Bad Boy Records. Some netizens have pointed to Aaron Carter's last tweet saying, "Yo, Kanye, let's talk man to man." But others state, well, Aaron Carter has publicly criticized Kanye West about his public behavior and the family drama that has been happening with Kanye West and his family. One netizen comment reads, "There's a lot of conspiracy bullshit on X and TikTok. Don't believe everything you hear. Aaron had his own demons. I don't think he was ever part of the Diddy clique, but people seemingly now want to include every celebrity that ever took a picture with Diddy, which is just dumb." And then there's, of course, other allegations that he was involved in other celebrities, passings, recent, past, present. It's a lot. I think that some netizens feel very frustrated because it feels like the victims who have actually Diddy, and these lawsuits, many of them are publicly available online. It feels like their stories don't deserve to be heard and don't deserve attention because these celebrity conspiracies are more interesting. We have covered most of those lawsuits throughout the span of these 4 episodes. So now let's cover the artists that do not like working with Diddy, allegedly.
I thought we covered this
Dawn
already.
Richards, who is also suing Diddy, she's more part of the work aspect. A lot of her lawsuit is detailing the work relationship that they had and the alleged unpaid wages, unfair treatment. So let's cover all of those next because I think a lot of the actual allegations have been covered. Drake is somebody that has a long history with Diddy. Drake posted a scene from a movie, The Big Short, where Ryan Gosling's character says, "I never hung out with these idiots after work, ever. I had fashion friends." Many netizens believe that's him saying that maybe he hung out with Diddy at work, but he never hung out with him after work. Because technically they have bumped into each other a lot at the same events, rubbing shoulders, but it does not appear that they are close. Which, interestingly enough, it seems like Diddy and Drake actually never liked each other. In 2018, they allegedly got into a fight outside of the Live nightclub in Miami Beach. Apparently, the two were having conversations about getting on a song together, but allegedly Drake bought the rights, released the song without Diddy's quote-unquote permission, which angered him, allegedly. The song is 0 to 100. Diddy felt like that was his song. I don't know. Sources allege that Diddy went up to Drake at DJ Khaled's birthday party in Miami, said, "You will never disrespect me." And some sources describe it as physical altercation. Some sources say Diddy punched Drake. Some sources say Diddy slapped Drake. Diddy denies all allegations of the physical altercation, but either way, I don't think the two like each other. Diddy also allegedly does not like Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole because Kendrick Lamar said that he was the king of New York. And Diddy took offense to that allegedly and got into a huge fight with J. Cole because J. Cole was trying to stand up. It was a whole thing.
What?
Wow.
So there are artists that don't like him, and especially from Diddy's own artists that were previously signed with Bad Boy Records. It seems like majority of them don't like him, from what I can tell on just the internet. Former Bad Boy artists claim that he would either force himself as a producer or songwriter on songs that he didn't even work on, just muscle his way into getting into those credits so he could get streaming rights, royalties, or force himself to get a few lines in each song so that he could charge his own artists a massive special guest appearance fee for himself.
That boy out of pocket.
Mark Curry, a former artist, claims the guy is just weird in general. He shares a story of how insecure Diddy is. These are his stories. Again, I can't vouch if they're true or not, but he claims that Diddy hated when girls didn't like him and preferred the artist on his label.
Prefer the artist?
Yeah, like when girls, because, you know, Mark Curry was stating that he doesn't have as much money as Diddy. He doesn't have power like Diddy. He's not a household name like Diddy, you know?
Yeah.
But sometimes girls just like him more than they like Diddy.
Diddy said, "How dare you?"
He alleged that
Jealous.
Diddy seemed to be the type of person that felt like he's the one that has the money. He's the one that worked hard. He's the one with the fancy suits, the fast cars. These artists are up and coming. They don't have it like he does, and the girls still like them. It feels like an insecurity complex if this is true. I don't know. He allegedly hated it to the point where he almost spat on a girl. Allegedly, a girl liked Mark Curry over him, to which the girl allegedly responded, wait, did he calm down? I have a twin sister. But honestly, she won't like you either.
Whoa.
Dang.
And Mark Curry said that is when he got really, really mad, and he thought something was going to go down. So he took that girl out of the situation, was like, we gotta go, let's go. Again, I don't know if this is true, but it's very, very weird. Diddy even responded to the artists who hate him on The Breakfast Club. He says, "There has been negative propaganda put out about me. It's just really strained and tried to stain my legacy. My name is Diddy Sean Combs. I never took nothing from nobody a day in my life. All I've ever given is opportunity and more money than a person was making." One netizen comment reads, "When every artist on the Bad Boy label is left broke or owing money while the label made millions, it's hard to believe that they're all lying on Diddy." Diddy was on the Graham Norton show a few days before Cassie's lawsuit dropped in 2023, and he's going on this whole spiel about his name change. Netizens think the interview is fascinating in hindsight. Graham Norton asks him if they should call him Love then, to which he responds, "This is the ultimate goal. I have become Love."
And it's love versus hate. And I choose love. That's my new name, and love wins. Love wins. Let's go, y'all.
Netizens write about the interview. The amount of
It's so
affirmation he gets when
cringy.
he looks around at them and they all give him exaggerated head nods, it just shows how much power he feels when he walks into every room every single day. Nothing but yes men all around him.
It's just so corny.
Yeah, another netizen comments, "There's a lot of toxicity in the world right now." The nerve to say that. Another one reads, "Love wins." The judge, are you sure about that? Diddy says in another podcast interview about his decision to give artists their publishing rights back. He says, because he said all the Bad Boy artists, they're going to get their publishing rights back. He said it was more of me just evolving as a businessman, you know, a person that really wants to change in the world. Once you start asking for change in this world, you have to look within and be part of that change. It was evolving as a businessman and just changing. It's the right thing to do. It's the love frequency. He continues, "If you have a chance to do the right thing, why wouldn't you want to do the right thing? I want to be that change that I want. I have to be responsible and accountable for myself. I'm just moving in God's purpose. You get to a point in your life where you pick purpose over profit." Mark Curry, a former artist of Diddy, said about the whole publishing rights thing, "What's it even worth now? You ever had somebody owe you $50? When you needed it back, they didn't pay you. Then by the time that they do pay you, that $50 doesn't mean the same as it did when you needed it." That's how I feel. I wanted it when it was making money, not after all it's gone. What am I going to do with that? In fact, it's an insult. It's like getting a Nissan. Like, you are owed a Nissan 15 years ago when it's brand new. It has value. But now he wants to give you the Nissan 15 years later after he already drove it around, took the value. Like, that's, what do you mean? Some artists said getting their publishing rights back, that would be like $300 a month. And it's not even free, if you will. Diddy was going to allegedly make all the artists sign an NDA to never speak about him, his mother, or like any of his family members ever. Mark Curry says, "There are different ways you can kill a person. I've noticed Diddy kill a lot of people's spirits." Another former artist under Diddy went off on an Instagram video. It's been a while since he's worked with Diddy. In fact, he's 52 years old now, but he says, like, "This guy Puffy is the main motherfucking reason I fucking hate life, dog." People don't even understand. Like, I don't even give a I've never been to a point where I thought of self-exit my whole life. Never. I mean, I'm a gangster. I don't know how I started thinking like that. I'd done it all and fell to the bottom. Like, how do you come back from that when you're battling a giant? It has nothing to do with your skill no more, because your skill is 90% better than any other guy that's out there right now, and the world knows it, but it ain't your skill. The world is built on relationships.
Man, facts, bro. It doesn't matter how smart you are, doesn't matter how funny you are, doesn't matter what you look like. As long as you know people and you have connections, you can get anywhere. You can get that job you always wanted. If you know 2 or 3 people in there, you can get that job. I made a lot of connections inside the military, and let me tell you, when I had to put some of them people on my resume for work, they didn't even question it, bro. I'm telling you. Connections. Me talk to people. Meet people, network. If you're a small content creator, get out there, talk to other smaller some big content creators respond back to you. I'm not even joking. I don't know if they do it now, but I remember back then I used to talk to Mr. Ballin. They will respond back to you. Some of them will. So, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you do not take. I'm telling you, you heard it now. Get out there and meet new people and meet friends. Not saying get out there and use people, like, oh, you do what now? Oh yeah, let's be friends, man. Let's go grab a drink, grab some food and come back. No. Actually genuinely get to know people, and you will be surprised.
Another person said, "Oh yeah, why haven't the artists spoken up now?" Or like, "Why are they now speaking up and why didn't they say something before?" Have you ever went up against a billionaire? Which, side note, Diddy actually responded to these Instagram posts in 2022 by posting on his Instagram story a black screen with white words. Stop all your crying and moaning. Hustle harder or get the out of our way. The producer Rodney Jones, the one that is suing Diddy, says, he is a monster. Nothing has changed. This guy has no soul, no duty to anyone, not even his own kids. Mace, another artist that was formerly under Bad Boy, he was actually one of the biggest stars on Diddy's label in the 90s. He said, your past business practices knowingly has continued purposefully starving your artists and have been extremely unfair to the very same artists that helped you obtain that Icon Award. He also points to the irony that Diddy is publicly calling out the Grammys for not showing enough deserved appreciation for black artists, which very, very valid, right? But at the same time, Mace, a black artist himself, is saying, you're also screwing over black artists, Diddy. He's saying about Diddy's business practices, that is not black excellence at all. Mark Curry says it's also pretty obvious that Diddy is what he's trying to do here, like the timing of it right before Cassie's lawsuit. He says, quote, because I think he had some kind of idea that this was coming down the pipeline, tried to cover up his tracks real quick, and it didn't work. Because he publicly announces that he's giving back publishing rights September 2023. Cassie's lawsuit filed November 2023. Just a few months later. And yeah, these former employees are not happy. One former employee said, working with Diddy is you have to be ready to catch a brick. And everyone's like, a what? They said it's like if you're walking down the street and someone randomly throws a brick at your head out of nowhere, out of the blue. If he was unhappy with something, you might not have done it, but he thought you did it, you're gonna get a brick to the head. Figuratively, metaphorically, right? One time I was surrounded by security guards. He's 6 inches from my face, screaming at me, telling me I f***ed up. That's what I learned what a brick is. I caught my first brick. It was my only brick. One source describes to Rolling Stone, Diddy is, quote, a complicated man with opposing personas. Outwardly, he's this tastemaker who's unapologetically driven, generous, and jovial, even silly at times. He can be the same privately, but if you get close enough, you discover something a lot darker. It's like he has this insatiable need. He's desperate to be accepted and admired, but that desperation can be violent. He publicly declares devotion, makes big donations publicly, and tells everyone to call him Brother Love, which seems to be his attempt at hiding his alleged abuse and violence. Another said, working with Diddy was like working on Game of Thrones. Not the set, but the actual fantasy world. Everyone is walking on eggshells with a unhinged leader, throwing each other under the bus to get closer to the one on the throne. Dawn Richards, a former Danity Kane member, has filed a lawsuit against Diddy. This was a girl group that Diddy was managing. Some of the allegations from the lawsuit read, Mr. Combs has arranged for dozens of young women and girls, some of whom appear to be underage, to be transported to the party. The women arrived wearing little to no clothing and were given drugs and alcohol. Many of them appeared lethargic or passed out while Mr. Combs and his guests performed sexual acts on them. Mr. Combs repeatedly said things like, quote, this is a buffet. Enjoy yourselves. This is what we do. This is how we party. Further in the lawsuit, it states, in a state of panic and terror, Ms. Richards fled to the bedroom Mr. Combs had insisted she stay in and barricaded the door shut with furniture. She also states Mr. Combs criticized Ms. Richards for being too skinny, yet declined her request for food and demanded that she only drink peanut butter shakes. Mr. Combs had full meals prepared by a chef and ate them in front of Ms. Richards, never offering her food. Dawn also alleges that at the auditions, he just went around calling young women, allegedly, fat, ugly bitches and hoes. Aubrey O'Day, another artist signed under Diddy, who also was on Danity Kane, working there, she said about working with him, we were scared to death with what would just happen with Puff each day. There was just no room for error. Diddy was one of the most intense people you could ever work with. I experienced everything from race remarks to sexism, and a lot of it was scary. She says about being fired, which, side note, she was fired from the band that she was part of on national television. Danity Kane is the girl group that was formed through Diddy's reality TV show called Making the Band 4 in 2008 on MTV. She gets fired on camera. She says, I was so young and so many things were put on me. I was fired on national TV for being overly raunchy and promiscuous. That's actually like wrongful termination. That's a lawsuit against a lot of people. She states, you know, I have such a love-hate with it all because I don't think that I would have been able to be so successful in so many other areas had I not been trained under Diddy. He was the hardest person you can work for. It was torture, and not the work part of it, but the other stuff, mind games. There was a lot of betrayal. There was a lot of lies. Diddy would be like, you're not hot anymore. Like, what happened? You don't have any curves. I can't get people to think you're this really good-looking person. Back then, there was no Me Too. You signed a million NDAs and a million contracts that took away your rights. The answer to what happens if you don't want to do what the executive wants? I'm the full-blown story of that. She says Diddy plays one of the dirtiest games there is around. She also alleges on another podcast that Diddy would say about people, presumably in a professional setting, oh, you're not f***able. You look like I could f*** you right now. You look like I can't f*** you. Like,
That
it's
doesn't
just
make any
very-
sense.
How can you say that in a workplace setting? And then about getting the publishing rights back, yeah, Aubrey O'Day states she did not agree to it because she was allegedly required to sign a crazy non-disclosure agreement in exchange, that she would never disparage Diddy or the Bad Boy label. Which, one thing to note, like I've said repeatedly through these episodes, all these are allegations and other people's stories. In the eyes of the law, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. But I will say, with all the stories coming out against Diddy, I don't know how it's going to play out in the court of law, but maybe he's not the best person to be around. Diddy has since applied for bail to be able to prepare for the trial in the comfort of his own $50 million mansion.
Nope.
In the letter to the judge, the defense attorneys write, the first thing the court should know is that when it became apparent to the counsel that Mr. Combs would at some point soon be formally charged, he did something extraordinary. He left his home in Miami and traveled to New York, the very location of the prosecutors and agents investigating him.
What?
I love how extraordinary feels like the bare minimum. Like turning yourself in or not running from the law versus, I don't know, what would be ordinary. Regardless, the defense proposes a $50 million bail package. It would be secured by his $48 million Miami mansion that he has fully paid off, as well as his mother's
Why does
mansion
my
in
camera
Miami.
keep overheating?
He
Hold
is
on, give me a
willing to be
second.
on house arrest, home detention, if you will. He's willing to wear a GPS monitor, have no contact with women, submit a weekly drug test, and
Cap.
restrict his travel just between Miami and New York City to attend court, meet with his counsel, and attend medical appointments. The passports, it is said on many a media that the passports for all his family members have been surrendered to his attorneys, which interestingly enough does not include his sons. So I just think it's weird.
Really?
Yeah, according to what was filed with the judge, it's Diddy's passport, his mom's, and his 4 daughters.
Not the
That
sons.
is crazy.
They got to keep the
Again,
business going. That's
I
what
think
it
it's
is.
weird. Because Justin Combs and Christian Combs were actually listed in other lawsuits. The girls
Yeah.
are, like, one of them just turned 18. The girls are minors.
Yeah.
Like, they're
Wow.
largely, like, the biggest,
Yeah.
one of the bigger victims that have direct ties to Diddy, you know?
Yeah.
It's just very bizarre. A lot of mainstream media is just like, the children's passports have been taken. But
Wow.
they also state that Diddy is making efforts to sell his private plane and that he will hire his own private security detail to guard him, which I don't know what that even means when they're also alleging that maybe the guns, the defaced AR-15s, were private security that left it at his house. He will not have access to the phone or the internet and will only be visited by a pre-approved list of guests. There are paragraphs that go on to list all of Diddy's charitable contributions in the past, which, sure, yes, great, but also he's facing a sex trafficking charge. He's not facing a greedy billionaire charge. You know, the attorneys also later state there's 30 million reasons for this to be depicted as a one-sided thing, one for each dollar that he's being sued. The bail proposal is aggressive, and it likely has to do with Diddy's conditions in jail. A supposed insider for the jail stated, there's no doubt Diddy will be like Ghislaine. He's going to be a target inside. His lawyers will be doing all they can to get him out. It's a monumental fall from grace. Also because, you know, if you listen to episode 3, there's a lot of the long-standing passionate opinions about Tupac and Biggie's death, which there might be people that are associated with said groups of gangs in LA that might have found themselves in federal prison in New York. Yeah. One day he's living like a millionaire and now he's in hell on earth, is what people say. Allegedly, Diddy once said that he never wears the same clothes twice, which would be very difficult to do in prison. Diddy's attorneys have stated that the food is inedible, from what I've been told. It's violent. Someone like Mr. Combs might be a target for certain things, and we can't let that happen. One comment reads, that's not even the worst part. The worst part is, this dude is dealing with all this stuff while suddenly going cold turkey from every upper and downer and pink and purple and white pill and powder you can think of. Not only that, he's suddenly going cold turkey on whatever he smoked and whatever he drank. Can you imagine?
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
It's going to be a very sobering moment for him, which many netizens agree that he most likely deserves every ounce of suffering for that hotel beating video alone. We're not saying that he's guilty of all the other allegations. We're just saying Yeah, well, that video told us all we need to know about sympathy or no sympathy of him being in prison. Side note, in a Vogue segment when Diddy was getting ready for the 2023 Met Gala, he said he has one of the most extensive male beauty routines in the world. First, he gets in the sauna for an hour, then he gets into an ice bath, and they have this new ice cupping therapy, and then he takes a sip of De Leon tequila, and then he hits the red carpet, and he's ready to shine and spread love. One inmate says, yeah, no, you're not getting any of that. In fact, there might be mold in food. The food's gonna be cold. People are gonna try to tamper with your food. There might be mold. The prosecutors don't care. They essentially said womp womp. They state in their letter
Womp
to the
womp.
judge that Diddy should not be released on bail. They also reference the Epstein case, R. Kelly's case, Keith Raniere's case, the NXIVM cult leader, as well as Lawrence Ray, the college cult leader that we did 2 episodes on. As reference, they quote, trafficking defendants, regardless of the age of their victims, are routinely detained pretrial, especially when they have engaged in repeated obstructive conduct. Additionally, they questioned the fact that Diddy should be able to use his wealth to set up a proposed bail package. Because all of this is just because he's a billionaire. Well, was a billionaire. Because if he was Joe from down the block, he would not be able to propose a bail package like this for the trafficking charge. Moreover, they state, simply put, he's a serial abuser and a serial obstructor. They also state that shortly after another lawsuit was filed against him in November of 2023, this is before his arrest, according to prosecutors, Diddy reached out to a victim of alleged SA, to try and ask for her, quote, support and friendship. The prosecutors state, in those calls, he attempts to convince the victim that she willingly engaged in acts constituting sexual abuse. Allegedly, days after Cassie filed her lawsuit, Diddy allegedly called an unnamed victim that he was financially supporting. And that woman texted Diddy back later, allegedly stating that reading Cassie's lawsuit felt, quote, I was reading my own sexual trauma. It makes me sick how 3 solid pages, word for word, is exactly my experiences and my anguish.
Oh,
But
snap.
according to prosecutors, Diddy continued to allegedly gaslight the woman, trying to convince her that she remembers incorrectly, and she in fact did want those things to happen, that she essentially consented to it all. The court papers claim that Diddy told the victim, if she continues to be on his side and provide support and friendship, that she doesn't have to worry about anything else, which is a thinly veiled reference to continuing that financial support. Diddy and his attorneys have denied. Diddy's attorneys state that the phone calls were not to intimidate anyone. It was just he was calling potential witnesses to let them know that his attorneys wanted to speak with them. They also state that this behavior was, quote, the furthest thing from witness obstruction I can think of.
Well, can't they download his phone and see what the
ring true for me.
conversations were to begin with?
Ultimately, the judge has denied the request for bail twice, 2 separate judges. The judge said, my concern is that this is a crime that happens behind closed doors. I don't know that you can control yourself. There are simply no conditions that would ensure that the defendant's efforts to obstruct and tamper with witnesses will stop. In sum, the defendant's long history of violent conduct makes clear that even the most stringent bail conditions will not suffice to ensure the safety of the community. He will likely have to stay in prison or jail until his trial. And as for the dozens of lawsuits filed against him, it's likely that Diddy will not face those civil lawsuits before his criminal trial has concluded. For example, Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, Danny Masterson, they all filed motions to delay their civil litigation by their accusers while they're being tried in the criminal court system. Which, of course, if he's convicted in the criminal case, that would obviously be very helpful to the plaintiffs. According to one lawyer who repped Cosby victims, he said, you want a convicted felon sitting at the defense table across from you. But many say, even from behind bars, the man is terrifying. One insider source told media outlets, he's so powerful, everyone was afraid to cross him. Even though he's behind bars now, he's still powerful. He's incredibly smart, he knows a lot of people, and he's helped a lot of people. So a lot of people owe him, and he knows that. He's capable of a lot, much more than people think even now.
Dang.
Another ex-employee says, he's someone you don't want to make an enemy of. When people do go against him, that person gets ostracized. It is stated that Diddy's attorneys are planning to file a new petition for pretrial release. They state there is, quote, new information that has come to light, but they don't specify.
Is he a godfather
One
or
of the
something?
attorneys
Like, what is
representing
he?
a victim said, they're not going to get scared because, quote, courage is contagious. Diddy's mom finally made a statement. It reads, I come to you today as a mother that is devastated and profoundly saddened by the allegations made against my son, Sean Combs. It's heartbreaking to see my son judged not for truth, but for a narrative created out of lies, to bear witness what seems to be like a public lynching of my son before he has had the opportunity to prove his innocence is a pain too unbearable to put into words. Like every human being, my son deserves to have his day in court, to finally share his side and to prove his innocence. Which is kind of a hard statement to digest when you consider there is video footage of him being incredibly violent with Cassie, to which his mom states, I am not here to portray my son as perfect, because he is not. He has made mistakes in his past, as we all have. My son may not have been entirely truthful about certain things, such as denying that he has ever gotten violent with an ex-girlfriend when the hotel surveillance showed otherwise. Sometimes, the truth and a lie become so closely intertwined that it becomes terrifying to admit one part of the story, especially when it's outside the norm or too complicated to be believed. This is why I believe my son's civil legal team opted to settle the ex-girlfriend's lawsuit instead of contesting it until the end, resulting in a ricochet effect as the federal government used this decision against my son, interpreting it as an admission of guilt. It is important to recognize that none of us, regardless of our status, are immune to fear or mistakes. Not being entirely straightforward about one issue does not mean my son is guilty of the repulsive allegations and the grave charges against him. These lies thrown at him are motivated by those seeking a financial gain and not justice. These individuals saw how quickly my son's civil legal team settled his ex-girlfriend's lawsuit, so they believed that they could receive a quick payday by falsely accusing my son. Say my son one more time. To make matters worse, the federal government is now using these lies to prosecute my son. The injustice has been unbearable for our family. The worst part of this ordeal is watching my beloved son be stripped of his dignity, not for what he did, but for what people choose to believe about him. She says, watching the world make jokes and laugh at my son's life crumbling before our eyes is something I can never forget. Then don't forget it. She continued.
Yeah, like, why didn't you stop your son? Or, you know, you were there for most of this stuff and you're pretty much, I don't know. In my opinion, I just feel like she condoned his behavior and, you know, he's been doing it for a while. She knows he's been doing. A lot of people have commented of the mom being there and knowing about these things, and she's just not caring about it. And I think the real question people are not asking is that Diddy in general, because he's been doing this for how long? So many years. And all of a sudden, the people that he influenced and I was working for him all of a sudden wants to turn him over and, like, you know, to the court. So you know what I mean? If you get what I'm like, you get what I'm saying? I just feel like he's just one of the snakes. It's like a three-headed snake. He just happens to be one of the heads. I feel like there's two more people, maybe three more, you know, out there somewhere. And they chose him to throw him under the bus right now. Maybe he did something wrong. Maybe he did something he wasn't supposed to do, or it's something else. I don't see it. I think that's kind of weird. You've been doing it since 19 something. And all of a sudden now they want to do something about it. It's weird to me.
It is truly agonizing to watch the world turn against my son so quickly and easily over lies and misconceptions without ever hearing his side or affording him the opportunity to present his side. I ask his supporters, fans, colleagues, friends, and the public to not judge him before you've had the chance to hear his side. I beg you to think about those who have been wrongfully persecuted and to remember that not everyone who has made mistakes in life deserves to have their entire existence judged by a single action or a few mistakes.
This is the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have sufficed as this is a private matter versus my son, my poor baby, my son. To which someone comments, she sounds like she is part of the reason that he turned out this way.
Oh, yeah.
Another reads, she failed as a mother. She should be ashamed. Typical mom response, nothing to see or read here. Yeah, says every mother in history. I hope someone shows her the tapes. One netizen writes, monsters often come from monsters.
Ooh.
Which, side note, while Diddy's mom was on her way to court, someone heckled her outside screaming, Janice, your son is a predator. Your son is a predator and deserves to be locked up. Which, I don't know if that's appropriate, but it does seem like it stems from her very public, bizarrely written statement of her son. And this so-called public lynching, I mean, thankfully, I don't think the children were heckled, especially his minor children. The kids have released their first joint statement. I do want to mention, there are a lot of people saying we should not be calling them the children, the kids, right? Because they're pretty old. So Justin is like 30, or they're nearing 30, Justin and Christian, and they have been named in lawsuits. Again, I'm not saying that they've committed anything wrongdoing. I'm just saying we don't know. Mm-hmm. But as for the girls, there's a lot of sympathy, like I said. They released a joint statement in regards to conspiracy theories and the calling of the reinvestigation into Kim Porter's death, but they also released a secondary joint statement that reads, "This past month has devastated our family. Many have judged both him and us based on accusations, conspiracy theories, and false narratives that have spiraled into absurdity on social media. We stand united, supporting you every step of the way. We hold on to the truth, knowing it will prevail and nothing will break the strength of our family. We miss you and love you, Dad." To which a lot of netizens feel sympathy for the kids. They say, as gross as Diddy is, I understand his children defending him. Or, that's still their father, but I definitely wouldn't be speaking to the public at all. Others actually think Diddy is really messed up for allowing his kids to make a statement. Many parents say, as a parent, I would never allow my children to make a public statement because just go through it alone. Don't get your kids involved. They're already going through it. Mm-hmm. You don't need them to make a public statement for media to pick apart, for comments to say, oh, because you want his money. Like, you don't need that. Why did you do that? It only helps Diddy. It doesn't help his kids. Others write, telling the kids not to defend their father when he hasn't been convicted is wild. Their silence would have been just as loud. Corinne, who wrote the book about her alleged time around rappers, the one that said that she was enamored by Diddy and he said that she'll have you on video with fingers in your butt. She says, the problem is not just Diddy and it's not just music or hip hop. The problem is men who have a deep down hatred for women. And side note, when her book came out in 2005, everyone hated it, called her a liar, which again, I'm not verifying the statements made in her book, but with Diddy being arrested, it seems like people are now more open to her credibility, perhaps. She says, I said everything I needed to say 10, 20, 15 years ago, and you guys all call me a crazy liar. You call me crazy, bipolar, a whore, and a bitter bitch. And now everyone's calling me to do interviews. Wendy Williams states, You know how I feel about that? His arrest, it's about time. But now you have to think, how many more times, how many more people, how many more women? It's just horrible. What is really weird is that I have been told by many people, Wendy, you called it, including some people in my own family who have said the same. Aubrey O'Day of Danity Kang has stated that she does not feel vindicated because she was one of the first ones to be vocal about Diddy and her negative experience with him. She says, there's no vindication when you're a victim of someone. Anyone being exposed or any truths being told don't change the reality of what you experienced. She says about the video of Diddy beating Cassie in the hotel, Diddy did not apologize to Cassie. He apologized to the world for seeing what he did. But she seems hopeful of his arrest. She took to Twitter to say, the purpose of justice is to provide an ending and allow us the space to create a new chapter. Women never get this. I feel validated. Today is a win for women all over the world, not just me. Things are finally changing. When it was released that Diddy's homes were getting raided, 50 Cent posted pictures along with the caption, now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case. Later, when CNN leaked the hotel footage, 50 Cent said, first they denied that it even happened. Then the tape comes out, so that means everything that man says is a lie. When someone watches that, if they have a daughter and they can imagine her being under those circumstances, that shit is crazy. Like, they let him get away with it. 50 Cent said in a podcast that he did not participate in freak-offs. He said, I also didn't go to those parties, so the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated to a degree. I'm just not with all that freaky shit. Like, all that shit he's doing, I'm just not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal.
Yeah, I'm
Kesha
like
has
that
her
too.
hit song TikTok, which there used to be a line that reads, first line, wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy. But now she has changed it to say, wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy.
Wow.
I don't think she's re-recorded it to reflect in the streaming platforms, but a few months back, she had a surprise appearance at Coachella where she performed the song with the new lyrics. But there are some bad takes out there. Bow Wow has come out to, the Bow Wow challenge. He said he was on a private jet, but he wasn't on a private jet.
Right.
He has come out to state, I never thought I would see it like this. It's like a whole, Diddy, it's like a hole in the industry. He was such a gatekeeper for the liquor and the clubs. He was everything hip hop. It just didn't feel right because there was no motion. There were no parties.
It feels kind of weird too, especially when you're like an actor and you're in that vicinity. You know what I mean? Like when you have your group of friends and something happens to your group of friends, you'd be like, what? That happened to him? Maybe it's the same way for celebrities. You know what I mean? Looking from the outside in. So it's like, I don't know. Like, do they see the same thing that we see? Some do and some like, well, he never did that around me. So I mean, I guess people get bits and pieces of people. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that movie called Why Do Fools Fall in Love? And then Frankie Lyman. For a long story short, he married like 3 different women. and they all got different pieces of him, and they didn't believe each other's story about him because he never acted like that around them. So I don't know. Maybe it could be a case of that as well. Maybe he was a certain way around certain people.
There's a hole?
Yeah.
Wow.
Another rapper, Boozy Badass, said Diddy's in jail for basically doing what every other famous entertainer has done. Flew bitches out for threesomes. He just freakier. So we actually are going to call women sex workers who fly in willingly to be with their partners for sex. If that's the case, if you've been flued out and had sex, you should be labeled as a sex worker. If that's the case, that's 80% of the women reading this. You're a celebrity. You got to fly pussy in. How else are you going to get the pussy but facing, quote, life in prison for doing basically what so many other entertainers have done? Hashtag I disagree.
That is crazy.
He also continues, I'm starting to feel like this trafficking charge is literally just for flying bitches in for threesomes. And it's being used as a tool to take down hip-hop artists and celebrities. Just think about it. Be careful who you fly in. Netizens have responded to the rapper saying, you're talking like you're on them tapes. So you saw trafficking and said, yeah, that's totally me. Hey, Boozy, shut up sometimes, is another comment. Another comment reads, take your balls out of Diddy's mouth. He's not coming back home. Which a lot of people say they're not surprised, considering that he admitted on live stream that he hired workers for his son and cousin nephews when they turned 12 and 13.
Oh yeah, Boosie don't care. Boosie be saying all kind of crazy stuff on live
I'm
and stream.
treating these boys right. Ask my nephews. Ask any of them. When they was 12 and 13, they got head, you know? Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Hell yeah. I got my fucking sons. Yeah, I'm fucking right. Yes, a grown woman, grown, super grown, checked his ass out. She's grown. She checked me out too. I know what the she did to them because I'm getting them prepared, man. So he's bragging about allegedly orchestrating essay on his own family members.
That's crazy work. Boosie,
one of Diddy's alleged victims have also stated she was one of the first to file a lawsuit. She says, this is not about money. It's about making sure that the world sees this man who rose to the level of an icon, but he's actually sick and has left so many victims in the wake of his unpunished, disgusting behavior for years. Another victim who filed a lawsuit but remains anonymous said, I hope the lawsuit will not just hold Sean Combs, but also all of those who acted with him stood silent and actively covered up his behavior. She said that her nightmare is not an isolated incident. Liza Gardner, who named Aaron Hall, the R&B singer, in her lawsuit, her attorney states, it's about damn time. Sometimes justice delayed is not justice denied, so long as justice ultimately arrives. One netizen comment reads, I assume these are just the ones that have enough evidence that a lawyer thinks it can go to trial. The number could be well into the thousands if you consider this span of 3 decades. Also, statute of limitations varies by state. This disgusting case is just getting worse and worse the more you dig.
I don't know what's going to happen, but what I do know is the truth always comes out in some shape or form, and I honestly wholeheartedly do not believe he's the only one responsible. I feel like there's multiple people, like all them A-list celebrities been mentioned and here and there, he didn't do it by himself. And then later on, a couple of years down the road, maybe next year, you're gonna see some more people come out like, oh, they did this, they did that, like how this wasn't captured. And you know what I mean? Justice delayed is not justice denied. So it's gonna take some time, but hopefully it comes out and it works out in their behalf. I'm gonna end it right here, guys. If you enjoyed, man, make sure you swoop down that description box, click on the link, go watch this video in entirety, because I was pausing, stopping, and talking through the whole thing. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Zems, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. If no one told you today, I love you.